Hello guys, Fred here from Pro Tennis Trader. Hope you're well. A bit of a different type of video in this one. As you know, I am first and foremost a tennis trader, but of course, like many traders, I do dabble in other markets, as essentially there is a crossover between a number of the fundamentals, so I can apply certain aspects to different types of trading and obviously tweak them appropriately. So I thought, as much of the tennis currently is in the US, this frees up some time during the football. So I thought I'd do a football trading video to kick off the new 2021-2022 football season. Now, there's a number of football trading videos out there on YouTube already, some pretty useful, but as always with YouTube, some complete garbage as well. So in this video, I'm not simply going to regurgitate the stuff that's already out there. Instead, I'm going to do a comparison of trading the under 1.5 goals market, the under 2.5 goals market, and the under 3.5 goals market. Now, these are amongst the most popular trading strategies in football trading, and unlike other dodgy strategies that you might find elsewhere, you are not risking huge liability for simply small returns. Now, my trading style, as you will know if you followed me for a while or taken any of my courses, is a very risk-averse and safe trading style, where I will only trade if I see value, and our upside is always potentially better than our downside. Now, with this in mind, this is why I've decided to compare these three markets, as they differ a hell of a lot in terms of risk versus reward ratio, and indeed value. I realise there'll be some people watching this video who are pretty familiar with trading these markets, but also some people who are completely new to football trading and indeed trading the under goals markets. So here is a basic explanation of how this strategy works. Now, this strategy is applied at the start of a football match, and you simply back either the 1.5 goals market, 2.5 goals market, or the 3.5 goals market, and this is the unders market. Now, you will see that there are other options such as the 0.5 goals market and higher goals market such as 4.5, 5.5 and so on. But my advice would be just don't get involved with these. Now, the idea is that once you've placed your back trade, then as the game progresses, the price will shorten, giving you an opportunity to make profit as long as there are no goals scored. Now, I'll show you this in my live trading example from the first day of the Premier League shortly, but before I do so, I just want to outline some rules for when and how to apply this strategy. So firstly, pre-match analysis is important for this strategy, as essentially you want to be adopting the strategy with teams who are less likely to score early in a game, and of course teams who are generally not high scoring teams. Now, you can use sites such as flashscore.com. However, you will see lots of videos covering all of this research, and you can spend hours researching stats for the whole thing to go out of the window. Now, why is this? Because a team will always perform differently against a different team. So you cannot rely solely on the stats. Sure, take them into account, but the most reliable indicator on whether you should adopt this strategy is in the match's pricing. Now, the bookmaker or exchange will always know better than you what the probability of something happening will be. It is up to you, the trader, to strike the balance between accepting what the bookmaker, or in this case the exchange, is offering in terms of pricing, and what you believe from your own research what is likely to happen. For example, let's take a look at some pricing scenarios for the unders goal markets going on this first day of the new Premier League season. So if we take a look at the Leicester Wolves match, in which Leicester are the favourites, if we look at the under 1.5 goals market, we can see Betfair are offering a price of 3.5, which is a fair price to back. But of course, if Betfair are offering a good price, then the implication is that the market believes there will be more than 1.5 goals scored in the match. They are offering you a good price because the likelihood of a successful bet is very low. Now, in the under 2.5 goals market, the price is 1.85. Again, not too bad, but usually you'd be looking for a price above 2.0 to enter into this market in order to get value. But this is a fair price, implying that the market believes that 2 to 3 goals may be scored as the price is close to evens, but of course with a better value going to the side of the exchange. And then in the under 3.5 goals market, we get a price of 1.32, which of course is very poor value and a price at which you would not want to back at. Now the implication here is that the market believes that there will be less than 3.5 goals scored in the match. So therefore, they don't want to pay out on an event that the market believes that there is a strong probability of occurring. So here are my rules for starting prices for the three types of unders goal markets. So for the under 1.5 goals market, you want to be looking for a price of around about 3.5. Now this gives you value, but at the same time is realistic in the eyes of the bookmakers or exchanges pricing. Essentially, you get a much better price on the under 1.5 goals market because it is much less probable to happen. In the under 2.5 goals market, you want to be looking to get in at a price of ideally above 2.0, but if my pre-match analysis suggests so, I may stretch this down to 1.8, but 1.8 is the minimum price that I would enter. Now you get lower pricing than the 1.5 goals market because it is more probable to occur. And then in the under 3.5 goals market, now these matches are harder to find, but you want to be looking for a price above 1.6. And then of course in the under 3.5 goals market, the pricing is not as good as the other markets because of course it is more likely to happen. Now in terms of risk versus reward, we can look at these three markets in the following way. So under 1.5 goals market is high risk, high reward. This is because your profit will rise faster so long as no goal is scored. But of course, if a goal is scored, you will take a bigger hit on the loss. Now if you don't reduce your stakes as the match progresses, which I will show you how to do in my live trading example shortly, you can expect around about 50% loss of your stake if a goal is scored in the first half. Give or take, every match is different, but you can be looking at around about a 50% loss or even higher. In the under 2.5 goals market, this is medium risk but medium reward. Your profit will grow slower, and of course overall there is less potential profit than the 1.5 goals market. But the plus side is that if a goal is scored, then your loss will be lower. This will be around about 20 to 30% loss of your stake if the goal is scored in the first half. Again, give or take. No match is exactly the same. Now if a goal is scored in the first few minutes, this loss can be higher than this, so just bear this in mind. In the under 3.5 goals market, this is low risk but low reward. Of course, you should see a pattern appearing here with these markets. Now your profit will rise slower than the under 2.5 goals market, but on the plus side, if a goal is scored, your loss will be minimal compared to those two other markets. Of course, the further along the game is before a goal is scored, the less loss you will make, and in some instances, even if the match has gone on to late in the first half, then you may even take no loss at all. You may just break even. So it really is quite low risk. Now, if there is a very quick goal scored, when back in this market, then of course your loss will be slightly bigger, but again, nothing like the under 2.5 or the under 1.5 goals market. So my strategy when backing any of these markets is to enter a back stake at the start of the match. I will then lay off parts of my trade to reduce my stake as the game progresses. Now my goal is to make 20 to 30% of my stake in profit with the under 1.5 goals market. With the 2.5 goals market, I will aim to make 10 to 20% of my stake. And then in the under 3.5 goals market, the aim is to make 5 to 10% profit from the stake that I placed at the start of the match. Now ideally I'll be out of the market after 15 minutes of play, and in some cases stretch this to 20 minutes. Anything beyond 20 minutes is where greed comes into play, and this is where most traders fail because they see loads of profit there, they see the profit rising, but of course this can all be lost in a second. And of course, if a goal is scored, I simply take the hit and move on with the next match. Now losses are a part of trading, so you just need to accept it. Okay, so let's jump in to the live trading example. So I decided to back the Leicester Wolves match under 2.5 goals market at the price of 1.85. Now I'm using the stake of just £20 as I want to show you a direct comparison of how the prices and the profit levels change with the different markets. And without throwing out a spoiler at this stage, in one of these markets I would not recommend trading, and so I'm happy to potentially lose some money demonstrating this point, but I'm not going to throw away a load of money at something just to prove this point. But anyway, as I said, you'll see what I'm referring to in a moment or two. Now for the under 1.5 goals market, I went for the match of Hull versus QPR, in which I ended up getting a back price of 3.57. Now for the under 3.5 goals market, my plan was to trade the Norwich-Liverpool game, but as you'll see in the following few minutes, I was having some issues with Betfair, but I don't think this was mainly due to Betfair, I think it was due to the Wi-Fi. So where I'm currently at the moment, we are still in a lockdown. It's 9 PM at night and we also have a curfew. Therefore, pretty much everyone in my complex will undoubtedly be downloading, watching Netflix, YouTube, or whatever at this exact same time. So I'm guessing this had a part to play, which was annoying. When it came to the Liverpool game starting, it was just unworkable. But I will show you the price movements from the earlier Man United Leeds game with the under 3.5 goals market. Okay, so here we are in the Leicester Wolves match, 6 minutes in, and already we've got £1.57 profit. So this is around 7%, so I'm going to reduce the stake by 25%, which is £5 of that original £20 stake. Now the price is 1.72, and we got in at 1.85. So you can see the price movement there at just 6 minutes. And then if we move over to the Hull versus QPR match, we can see the difference in the profit at the same point of the match at 6 minutes. So you'll see it's a larger profit, with the current profit being £2.14. So I'll do the same. I'm going to lay off 25% of the stake, which is £5. So you'll see we had a £2.14 profit there, which is above 10%. So a much greater profit than the 2.5 goals market. And already it's gone up to £2.48 while the bet is being matched. So at 9 minutes now in the Leicester Wolves match, we've got further price movement. The lay price is now 1.61. So what I'm doing here again is laying off another 25% of the stake, which is £5. This is to lock in profit and reduce my liability. This is because if a goal is scored, we'll take a lower loss than if we just left the full stake on the match. And of course, as you can see, the profit is currently £2.70. Now, obviously, as we reduce the liability, the profit will grow more slowly, but this is a more risk-averse approach to trading. And at exactly the same point in the Hull versus QPR match, at 10 minutes, we've got a profit of £3.45. So you can see considerably higher than in the under 2.5 goals market in the other match. So again, I'm going to do exactly the same thing and lay off 25% of the stake, which is another £5 to lock in profit and reduce this liability. At 30 minutes in the Leicester Wolves match, we've actually reached our target profit of 15%, which is £3 of the £20 stake. So what you can either do here is you can lay off that other £10 at the price of 1.59, which will give you essentially a free bet. If it does go to under 2.5, you've made a bit more at £4.65. But in this scenario, we're trading it, the money's on the table, so I'm going to take that profit of 15%, which is £3. Now my plan was to do exactly the same with the whole QPR match and cash out my profit, so we could compare the profits from the same stakes simultaneously. But when I clicked on the under 1.5 goals market, we can see the score is apparently still 0-0, but we are £5.99 in the red. So either Betfair was slow or my connection was slow. I tried to find out on flash scores what was going on, but then by the time that was loading, I went back to Betfair, and actually then we saw that QPR had scored. So this is exactly why I chose to do this comparison with just £20 stakes. As you can see, in addition to having some trouble with Betfair, now the loss was £6, which from an original stake of £20 is a 30% loss. And that is with reducing my liability down to £10, which essentially turns this into a 60% loss because we reduced the liability down to the £10 stake. So 60% loss is a huge loss to take on a trade like this. As for the under 3.5 goals market, as you can see, Betfair was playing up for me a bit, and when it came to the Liverpool game, it just wasn't happening. But let's take a look at the earlier game of Man United versus Leeds. So the start price for the 3.5 goals market was pretty good at 1.6, which shortened down to below 1.2. But when there was a goal scored at the 30-minute mark, you'll see that unlike with the 1.5 goals market where the price drifted out considerably, now granted QPR goal was earlier, the price in this match only drifted back to the resistance level of the start price of 1.6. Now of course it's nigh on impossible to do a direct comparison with goals scored at exactly the same time, but you can see the vast difference in price movement when a goal is scored with the under 1.5 goals market compared to the under 3.5 goals market. But also, you can see the slower price movement as the price is shortening before a goal is scored in both markets. So to close out this video, the moral of the story is, in my opinion, just don't bother with the under 1.5 goals market. The risk versus reward ratio is just far too off balanced. Now, I would be interested to hear your thoughts on this, so please do drop me a comment down below. Now, I like the under 2.5 goals market, and this is the main market that I trade when I'm trading football. And if I can get a decent price, I will also often trade the under 3.5 goals market as well. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit like and visit my channel and subscribe for more videos. And if you'd like to begin your journey into tennis trading, then please visit protennistrader.com, where you can sign up to my free online video course, An Introduction into Tennis Trading. I'll see you soon.